Turn there,
he said, jamming a finger toward an on-ramp.
Get on the freeway and head north, out of the city.
Squinting at the glowing green sign ahead, she hoped she wouldn't crash into the guardrail. She considered mentioning her glasses again, then pictured bleeding to death by stabbing and bit her tongue. She drove that way for what seemed like forever, with the blade tucked securely beneath her chin and her heart pounding in her ears. Wherever this guy was taking her, it was somewhere remote. She watched the signs for the suburbs of LA disappear, replaced by those of the smaller towns at the base of the surrounding mountains. Her thoughts were chaotic, running around in a panic and bumping into each other inside her brain. She desperately tried to recall any kind of self-defense tips she'd seen on various talk shows throughout the years. She saw visions of spandex-clad women karate-chopping their pretend foes in front of delighted studio audiences. Never let them take you to the second location. This from an episode of Oprah which she'd watched while munching on a pint of Ben & Jerry's, after a particularly bad breakup. She remembered being only slightly interested. Now she wished she'd paid more attention. She moved her tongue around in her mouth. It might as well have been a cotton ball. Crap! They were definitely headed to location number 2, that much was obvious. Now what? The man in back leaned forward, the leather upholstery squeaking under his weight.
Take the next exit.
She eased her foot onto the brake as gently as she could. Even so, she felt him brace against the back of the passenger seat.
Left here.
Turning on the blinker, she looked both ways before maneuvering onto the bumpy road.
Christ, lady, you can move a little faster, you know. We're the only ones out here.
She bit back a reply as they began a slow climb up the hill and into a canopy of dark, ominous trees. He's right. We're the only ones out here. Whatever he's going to do it soon. Her mind raced while her hands trembled along the warm, slick steering wheel. She was wearing some significant heels. Significant enough that she'd nearly broken her neck walking around the office in them more than once. Once they got out of the car, if she could position herself right, she might be able to sink them into his family jewels and have a chance at escaping. That is, if he hadn't sunk the knife into her first.
Take a right where that gate is up ahead.
She squinted into the darkness. Where? I don't see any gate.
There!
He waved the knife over her shoulder impatiently. Leaning forward, she could make out the beginnings of a dilapidated fence through the foliage. She slowed the car and turned into a dirt drive which was riddled with muddy potholes. The car bounced and rocked as it made its way over them, and she leaned away from the knife which was bouncing with it. After a few seconds, the dirt drive turned into a paved one, and the trees and brush gave way to a clearing just big enough for a house in the middle. As they approached, a motion-activated bulb above the garage flooded the driveway with light, and Jessica had to bring her hand up to shield her eyes. The house had once been nice, but its paint was now peeling off in sizable gray flakes. Weeds and vines choked out what might have been flower beds at one point in time. Stretched out on either side were kennels of some sort, and the silver chain-link fencing glinted in the headlights. There was barking in the distance, and the hairs on the back of her neck prickled. She was scared to death of dogs. Given the choice, she thought she'd rather die from the knife at her throat.
Stop here.
The voice coming from the back seat sounded as if it was traveling through a tunnel. Putting the car into park, she jammed her teeth together to keep them from chattering.
Get out.
Why are you doing this? What do you want from me? He pressed the knife under her chin.
Get out.
She opened the door into the chilly night air. Her flimsy blouse